Hello there. We are nearing the end of our time together this semester for English 112, and I wanted to make a quick video this week to make sure that we're all on the same page for the final research paper. Now, remember, this is due this week, so I'm giving you until Sunday night at midnight to submit the research paper. And then next week on Monday, I'm going to post a on-demand writing topic for an exit essay. It will be a much shorter essay, so fewer than 500 words. You submit that by the end of the week. Next week, our semester ends on April 30th, so I will be posting grades after April 30th. Make sure that the research paper and the exit essay are both submitted before April 30th. Research paper should be in on April. The date for Sunday is the 25th, so April 25th is the due date for that. So I've read your first draft, your second draft, and I've given you feedback. So if you go into Moodle and look at the feedback, it's going to be written on the file that I've uploaded. So I've printed them out, marked them up, and then scanned them back to you. So if you're having trouble accessing that, just send me an email and let me know. If you haven't submitted a first or a second rough draft, then I can't give you feedback unless you submit a rough draft. So if you encounter a problem between now and Sunday night, just send an email to my Cumberland County account, and I'll try to address any questions you might have. But I've read all that have been submitted at this point and given feedback on them. So based on what I have read, I've made this checklist on my board in my in-person class today, and I just want to go over that with you. Obviously, every paper we've written in English 112 is in APA format. So in order to have an A quality paper, and this checklist is for if you want an A, you're going to use APA format and it's going to be done correctly. So if you don't know how to do that, the place to go is Purdue Online Writing Lab. So Google Purdue OWL APA formatting. So when it comes to formatting for in-text citations, for long quotations, that's where you're going to find it. It's got to have a title page. It's got to have a running head. It's got to have page numbers if you want to have an A. So in order to get an A in this course, you've got to demonstrate to me your proficiency with the APA format. It needs to be a minimum of 1,500 words. Again, that's to get you to the minimum requirement that Campbellsville University requests for English 112. So there was a minimum for English 111, there's a minimum for 112, and this paper needs to be 1,500 words. It is a substantial paper, so make sure that you've reached that. There should be an arguable claim. This is an argument research paper. So I should be able to find within your introduction a declarative statement with which a reasonable reader might disagree. And then your burden as the author is to find sufficient research and to develop the ideas in such a way that you can support your arguable claim. So if I can't find the arguable claim, and I've written that on some of the feedback, where's your claim, or this isn't arguable, then you need to work on that in order to get an A. As we have done in the past two essays, I'm looking for synthesis of sources. Now, what do I mean by that? That means you find multiple sources and you blend them together in a discussion of one main idea in a body paragraph. So what I don't want to see is that you take source number one and I get a summary in one paragraph of source one. And then the next paragraph is a summary of source two. And the next is a summary of source three. This is not a summary paper. This is a synthesis. So synthesis truly means that you have blended together ideas from different areas of research. You must have in-text citations that correspond to the references. The first thing I check is I go through all of your in-text citations, that information that's parenthetical, and I make sure that the author's name that's listed in the parenthetical citation matches alphabetically on the reference list. Then I take the reference list and make sure that if it's listed on the reference list, it's mentioned in an in-text citation. So you've got to do that using APA format. Again, if you don't know how to do that at this point, I would be shocked if you don't know how to do that. But if you need to look it up, go to the APA Purdue website. Now, I've been writing papers in MLA and APA format for 30 years. I still have to look up the specifics of where does the period go, what order do the authors go in, do I spell it out, do I capitalize it, because you're not expected to know that automatically. Know where the resources are to find that, but you should be well versed in how to do that by this point in the semester. Remember, short quotations are handled differently than long quotations. APA defines a long quotations as more than 40 words. Generally, that's 4 lines typed out. So for a long quotation, for example, it's in a block quote with no quotation marks. So you omit the quotation marks on a long quotation, and then the parenthetical citation goes after the period, which is the exact opposite of a short quotation. A short quotation is 40 or fewer words. It's enclosed in quotation marks, and the parenthetical citation comes inside the period or the end punctuation mark for that. The references list, there are two things that I look at to begin with. One, have you used a hanging indent? That means you've left justified, the first line touches the left margin, and then the second and subsequent lines are indented. So that's a hanging indent. If you don't know how to do that, Google, how do I get a hanging indent? And the entry should be alphabetized by what comes first. So usually that's the author's last name. If you don't have a named author, then that's going to be the title of the publication or the title of the article. Now, where should you have gotten your sources? In order to have reliable, valid sources, you should have consulted the virtual library. We've discussed in this class, and you can go back to previous videos and see how to access and refine your search in the Montgomery Library made available to you through Campbellsville University. So I would imagine for a paper of this magnitude of 1,500 words, you're going to use 7 to 8 sources, and the paper is probably going to be 7 to 8 pages. I expect to read in this essay well-organized ideas with sufficient transitions. One technique that we used in the very beginning of this semester was to put headings in the paper. So if you want to organize your paper around headings, that's fine. In fact, a couple of students have done that in their rough drafts, and I think it helps you stay focused as a writer, that you are organizing your ideas. There's a deliberate arrangement or progression of one idea to the next, and it forces you to have those transitions. I'm looking for adequate support and idea development. You've got to really convince me of this arguable claim. In order to do that, there has to be sufficient research, sufficient analysis, and justification drawn from the sources. You can also use your own experience in this. So if you drift into first-person point of view, that's okay, especially if it's a topic with which you have personal experience. And then at some point in this essay, you need to address the opposition. We call that a counter-argument, where you refute the opposition, where this reasonable person who might disagree with my arguable claim might say this, but this piece of evidence or this piece of research shows that that is not a sound premise. So you show, you could concede a point, but then you show ultimately that the conclusion should be that my claim is valid based on all the support that I've given you. So that counter argument could come in the conclusion, or it could come the paragraph immediately before the conclusion. So, as always, send me an email if you have questions, or if you're running into some sort of difficulty. Don't wait until after midnight on Sunday to email me to tell me that you've got a problem or something has come up. Make sure that you have this paper submitted by midnight on Sunday so that I can have time next week to score it and give it back to you, and you'll know what your score is going into the last week of class for the exit exam. And so that's it. Our semester is over on April 30th, and we will be finished, and I will post those grades to TigerNet. So again, if you have questions this week, don't hesitate to email me, and I will help you to the best of my ability. Make sure that you check Moodle for last week's assignment and check the feedback that I've uploaded there. Now, if you are missing an assignment for this semester, any assignment for this semester, email that to me. Let me know so that I can give you credit for what you have done. So if you, for some reason, missed an essay along the way, that will be a 0 unless you contact me and tell me what's going on and let me see the assignment that you want to submit for that. Also, the weekly homework assignments that have been worth 20 points, if for some reason you've got a blank there, you need to get those to me by the end of next week. So send me an email and let me know what's going on, because those will have a negative impact on your grade once zeros are put in. So get in touch with me, and I look forward to helping you.